Hey, just a quick sponsored announcement from Grubhub. This Friday, April 9th, they're partnering with Buffalo Wild Wings to bring you Feeding Frenzy. That's right, you're going to see two teams facing off, one led by Yasuo, one led by Night Blue, and they will compete. It's being cast by some friends of mine. I can't say who. And you can tune in on Grubhub's YouTube channel. Be sure to click the link in the description below to order food delivery from your favorite restaurants and save money through Grubhub perks. And be sure to keep an eye also on their social channels this week for more information ahead of Feeding Frenzy, which again is happening Friday, April 9th. Well, we're in the third week of Mid-Season Showdown with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined by Zven to talk about the series against Team Liquid just now. Cloud9's dominant 3-1 victory. I mean, it felt like it was pretty one-sided other than that one game where it felt one-sided for Team Liquid. What was it like for you playing that series?
Yeah, it felt one-sided. I think we were in control of the whole series. I think that game two already, very early in the game, I said, guys, I think we're just fucked. We're just outdrafted, and it felt like they had 5 pieces like Exodia. They had like a comp that just beat ours in every possible. We had low damage to kill the tanks and bruisers they had. We had no real engage because they win team fights, and we lose silence to the Gangplank, which we also didn't have a counter to Gangplank at the time. So it felt like they had like a draft that was kind of like downloading us a little bit. We were just completely outdrafted, and we talked about it after the mid team fight we had, where we had good engage on Seraphine and Tahm Kench, and we still didn't win the fight. We realized, all right, this game is lost. Talk about next game already now. But I think besides that one bad draft in game two, we had really good drafts in game 1, 3, and 4, and we played well towards summoning conditions, and we knew what they would do at all parts of the draft, I think, besides game 2. So I felt like we were really prepared today, and it showed.
Well, it's interesting you bring up the draft for game 2. I wanted to bring up the draft for game 1 because there was a lot of social media chatter about how TL had won that draft. I think LS tweeted something about how C9 needed an exorcism, and TL gloated on their social media about getting so many of the champions that they wanted. So what do you think of that game 1 draft? Was everybody wrong, or did you guys just outplay them even though perhaps they won the draft?
I think that one thing that analysts like LS and other people have to remember is that drafts aren't as simple as 5 champs versus 5 champs. It's also about who is piloting the champions. And I think that when Team Liquid puts Core JJ, one of their 2 players on Seraphine, it hurts them as a team most of the time. And I think that in game 2, when they put on Jensen, it's much better because it allows Alfari and Core JJ to be part of the game as well and do something. So I think it's not as simple as just 5 champions. It's more about who's playing them and what team is playing them. And even with that said, I don't think that the draft is that insane. I think that we have winning lanes, some of our lanes, and I think that we have a lot of playmaking, and we're on full comfort. And I felt that in that game, Michaelista is actually a scaling champ. Like, it's actually a good late game in that game. So, and generally, if you have Alfari not on his 3 champions, Renekton, Gnar, and Gangplank, he's a lot worse than he normally is as a player. He's played those champions so many games this season, and he's just worse than a lot of champions. So I think the draft is a win when you can consider the players in the game on the champions. So I don't think it's as black and white as just 5 champs.
Gotcha. Okay, well, fair enough. I also wanted to ask you about just what you thought of the TL that you played today, because I interviewed Jat right before this, and he felt as though he didn't say it as an excuse, almost more as an apology, but that the players just had like a bad day. That the TL that he saw today was not necessarily the players that he knows could have shown up against you guys in a different situation. So were you surprised? Do you think TL underperformed? Do you think their players, choked or had issues or anything?
I don't think there was anyone that like choked straight up. I think it was just they were outdrafted a couple of games, and when you're playing with a draft disadvantage, you have to play better than your opponents to win. And if you're also playing worse at the same time, it just looks like you can't do anything the whole game, right? So I think in game 3 and 4, the draft difference was kind of big, honestly. I think that there's not much they can do unless they're better than us. And if they're also playing worse, which I think is fair enough, I don't think that they played that well today on bot side or in jungle. I can't remember them doing anything in any games. So yeah, I think it's fair enough to say. But as a coach, what is he supposed to say? My players played bad, or they are bad. No, they had a bad day. Sure, that works. Bad drafts. I hope he said that too. I don't know what I would say as a coach if my team played worse than the enemy team. I think it's just what it is. So that's fair enough, I think.
I mean, I know perhaps that it's a fair thing for him to say. It's more just I like to check against You guys, because maybe you're
Yeah.
like, I don't. This is the same TL we've seen all year, or maybe
Yeah,
you're
I mean,
like, yeah, I don't know what was going on.
honestly, I think it's fair enough. I think that Core DJ had not that much impact today, as he usually does. I think normally Core DJ is a player that you draft around him, you play around him, you keep in mind certain things that he does that no one else does. But today there wasn't much of that. Sure, playing Seraphine Tom Kench kind of like makes it harder. But even in game 3 and 4, he played Tom Kench in game 4, I know, but he wasn't really doing anything in these games. Like normally Core J is the player that dictates the game or does something. We have all these like things from coaching that remember guys, Core J does this thing that no one else does. He does this thing at 8 minutes for Herald, blah blah. But today there was nothing that he didn't have any influence in the game, I felt. So it's true in his case. I think Alfari played his usual level. He plays well in lane especially. So but I think when he's not playing Marathon GP or not, he's worse than he is on everything else, like Volibear and what's it called? The other champ he played last game. He played.
Oh,
what did he play in game 3? He played Volibear in
game 4.
He played what? Volibear. Oh, Urgot. It was Urgot. Yeah, the Urgot game. Game 1.
Yeah,
he didn't
yeah,
play that well on Urgot. I think his Urgot and his Volibear were much worse than his GP and his Marathon, right? So I think it's fair to say that TL played worse than they usually do. Yeah, I think they have a higher individual level than this. So.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Alfari because I think that was one of the things that I'd heard them mention on the cast. I'm kind of paraphrasing that they felt like he just didn't have much of a presence, and in the way that he normally does, right? Because he can often take over those games. So, do you think it really was those champions just that held him back, or I don't know if there was some concerted effort on Cloud9 to make sure that he couldn't pop off the way that he does sometimes?
Well, Alfari is definitely better on his first 2 champs, Maxon, Gnar, Gangplank, but I also think Fudge has improved over the course of the split, and I had no doubt in my mind for even 1 second the whole split that at some point Fudge will be the best top laner in LCS. People will say he wasn't better today, he was just playing tanks or whatever, but I think Fudge fits perfectly into our team and the current meta, and he's willing to play more champions or like different styles of champ, whereas Enchanters, we've seen that before with the Lulu and the Karma. Tanks like Sion, Alfari has never played Sion, he's 0-7 on it in his career. So I think Alfari is a good player when his team plays around him, but we are very good at not losing topside if we want to and play on mid or bot. So I think we match up well against TL today. And we had a good preparation for Alfari to make him not carry. And Jensen and Santorin are very simple players. They play tanks in jungle, they play mages mid, and it's fun for late game. And I think Perks is the opposite of that, and Vipers too. They play aggressive champions in Italy. Lucian, you saw it banned the whole series. Tristana also banned the whole series until game 4. So yeah, I think we fit very well into their playstyle.
This is maybe a tired narrative for you. I'm sure you've heard it so many over the years, but I have to ask about it. Obviously, you've played with Perks previously. I think at the start of the day, maybe it was like Freak or somebody was like, yeah, the Perks that shows up in playoffs, that's the reason Cloud9 brought him over. So I'm curious, do you think playoff Perks is a thing right now? Are we seeing him activated? Is he very different than perhaps what you were playing with during the regular season?
I don't think he's different in scrims and stuff than he is normally, but I definitely think that on stage today he was different in a little bit. He felt like more in the zone than he did in some regular season games, so I agree. But I think from playing with you and Perks back in the day to how they are now, they are the exact same still. The way they play, the way they think about the game, everything they say matches how they used to be. But I think Perks is better in playoffs, yeah, but it's not like it's a big difference maker. I think he's just a good player overall.
Yeah. I was going to ask, tomorrow we have TSM and 100T. Who wins that?
Yeah, TSM.
Okay.
Action? Mm-hmm.
So TSM TL play then on Saturday. Who wins that?
I would say TL, but
okay.
It depends how one of these versus TSM looks, because we scrimmed one of these in TSM the whole week, right? Since TL is our opponent, and I think overall from those two teams, TSM looks better, but it is scrims, right? And in scrims, the game is like a whole different game. It's like you're playing, Chinese League of Legends in scrims. But I do think TSM beats one of these, not 3-0, 3-1, maybe 3-2 even. Depends, how well they play given the day. They won't have bad days, right? And I think in the Saturday match next week, TL wins 3-1 or 3-0. Honestly.
So then you guys get the rematch in the finals.
Yeah.
You think TL will look better against you there? Or you think it'll be the same results or maybe even a 3-0?
I think the current issue right now is that no one can scrim anyone because of the way the format works.
Yeah.
So it's up to the cabin teams, and our cabin team is really good, I think. And we have a lot of good scrim practice with them. So I think we'll have good practice for next week. So it means that you can't change much about your draft right now. You can only scrim academy teams. And I think TL and C9 have better academy teams. So this week's scrims would be better for us and for them. Because I think T10's academy team kind of sucks, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
So the practice we get this week and the practice TL gets this week will be better than their practice. And therefore, even if T10 wins against one of the teams, they will lose to TL.
Well, but my question was, is there
Sorry.
a chance, like, assuming TL rematches against you in the finals, which I think a lot of people would predict based off results so far, is it going to be closer than it was today, or do you think, or will it be even more of a stomp? I don't know.
I think it'll be similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel a rivalry at all with TL, especially since you guys have faced a couple times now?
Yeah, I would say so. In a way, yeah. I think that when I'm going into LCS, if I'm seeing anyone besides TL, I'm really, really confident. I'm like super sure, and I'm like feeling really confident that this is a free win. This is a 3-0 or a 3-1 or whatever. But against TL, I'm always like, yeah, these guys are actually good. They're actually like fucking good, you know?
Yeah.
But today they didn't show that. They showed very obvious drafting, bad drafts at times even, and they showed just a lot of bad plays. I think they made a lot of unforced errors today, and even some tilt gameplay, like Alpha's death mid in game 4, the next game. The way that mid was kind of like, I wouldn't say cringe, but like it felt like his soul was getting sucked out of him, his body slowly. It was like, oh god, this is lost already. I'm gonna go mid and fight till death and then die, and then
Right.
it felt like a tilter game. So they showed a lot of not normal gameplay.
Yeah. Last question for you, very different than the others. Have you played Wild Rift?
No, I have not actually. I'm not a phone gamer.
Did you know? I mean, I am not either, but I really enjoy it. And my pitch to you is, you can get 19 ms ping playing it on Wi-Fi on your phone. So my suggestion is, a lot of these LCS pros who complain about solo queue and the ping, just start playing Wild Rift.
Wait, so the server for Wild Rift is closer to LA.
So I usually get 20. I usually get 20 or 22, sometimes 19. One time I did get 73 or 74. So I think they have multiple servers, and I think that you do get West Coast server if you're on the West Coast.
Oh, so the servers are split in two.
That's my guess. Because
Okay,
I've seen 22, and then at one time I saw 73. So I'm guessing that it splits.
Yeah, because that's the whole problem, right? But in it, you can't make two split servers. That would fuck the player base too hard if you do it in the league. But you also can't move the server to the left side. I mean, West Coast, sorry. So, yeah, okay.
Just whenever you guys are solo queuing this week, just solo queue Wild Rift. You'll the ping you need.
I will learn my matchups. I will get my practice in Wild Rift. Yeah, true.
Yeah, very good. Not all the champions are there, so it's going to give you a much more limited champ pool. But
what's not there?
They only have like 60 champions, so the majority I think are not in it. So you got Kaisa, you got Ezreal. I'm trying to remember all the ADs, but yeah, there's several. Is there anything you want to say to any of the fans, especially knowing that now you're headed to the finals?
Personally, I never had any doubt in any player in my team or in the process of the team. So I hope the people that doubted us that we will be a good team. And if we don't win Spain Split, we will win Summer Split and be a good team. So just keep having faith in us. I appreciate it. I have been off media for a while now, but I know that a lot of people cheering for us and want to see us succeed. So thank you for cheering. It means a lot to us and the team and the overall morale. I'm really excited to go play on the Greek Theater, next week. So
yeah,
I think it'll be really fun to play on a live stage again. I can't wait for it personally. I'm super hyped.
I mean, I'm excited too. It'll be really cool to see. Hey, thank you so much for the interview. Congratulations on the win today. Looking forward to seeing you face off in the finals next week against whoever wins on Saturday. So thank you so much for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. These days, everybody's talking about Wild Rift this, Wild Rift that. And you know what's actually wild? The amazing performance you can get with Alienware computers with NVIDIA graphics cards in them. You can go check them out over at alienware.com/Travis, and you can use Travis10 off to save 10%. Also wild that you can do that. They've got some fantastic stuff, including the Alienware M15R4. We love Alienware. Thank you so much for sponsoring my content, and we'll catch you next time.